Grand Hood Rising, Kings and Queens, Trap Witch here in Atlanta, Georgia, coming to bring you a new moon in Leo reading for July 31st, 2019. For those of you who already know me, you know that I am the Trap Witch. To those of you who have happened to find this video, welcome. I am the Trap Witch. You can follow me on Instagram, TheTrapWitch. I am an intuitive healer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I am a practitioner of the Afro-Cuban Lukumi Santeria faith. I'm crowned Oshun with Chango. So not only am I walking a traditional path of a faith to be a practitioner, but I'm also an intuitive healing practitioner. I help people walk through their shadows, redefine the shadow in order for them to continue to evolve. I don't consider myself a light worker. I like more of the gray areas. I like turning the shadow into something more powerful, because it's always necessary to go through the shadow aspects in order to redefine ourselves, get to our truest authentic selves, and move past traumas, PTSDs, and everything that the world throws at us, the adversity, the conflict, the chaos, and make fucking magic of it. It is Leo season. It is my favorite season. Although I am an Aquarius, I am a Leo rising, Lilith in Leo. So I honestly celebrate Leo season a lot more than I celebrate Aquarius seasons. As I get older too, I just come more into this, these Leonisms within myself. Definitely very lion-hearted. So, you know, Leo season, especially being that Mercury RX is in Leo. We're about to finish that off. This Mercury RX was quite enlightening for me. A lot of lessons that I thought that I had overcome, but had to be revisited to come out the other side a little bit stronger, a little bit more aware, and I'm sure it was for a lot of you guys. You know, Leo season, I love Leos, unapologetic as fuck. Sometimes can be a little over opinionated, right? Loud and proud, very big energy, and as I call it big pussy energy season, especially with, you know, defining who you want to be and how you want to communicate yourself and how you want to step up and show out in the world. For a long time, I was torn between that, especially I'm an Aquarius, we're the fucking humanitarians. They say we're the geniuses of the zodiac, but, you know, we have the tendency to get stuck in our thoughts, get stuck in our head. And Aquarius with Leo rising, I tend to allow my pride to get in the way with people. So it's like, although I want to be a humanitarian, the fucking lion in me wants to just rip people apart sometimes. But as we ascend, as we grow, the lion has to be redefined. It has to be, you know, used in a very conducive way that allows us to evolve and not sets us back. And one of the best quotes I ever heard someone say is that even a lion protects everything in its kingdom, even things that it intends to eat later. So sometimes, you know, you just gotta let the, you know, things will pass on by, and even if you're gonna eat it up, you know, you eat it up in a constructive way later on. Sometimes you just gotta, you know. So as we're coming to the end of Mercury RX, you know, we're going into the after shadow of it and everything up until like what, the 16th of August. You know, we're going to be on the tail end of things now, and I want to see what this energy for the new moon is asking of us, how we can use this energy now going into the month of August, leading up to the full moon. Like I said, I am an intuitive healer. I do work one-on-one with people. Some of the best work I do is one-on-one with people. I provide counsel, advice, intuitive readings, you know, even if it's just a fucking therapy session, you know, unbiased, non-judgmental. You could have told me you sold your soul to the devil. Now you're trying to reclaim it back. I wouldn't really give a fuck. I just want to help you move forward. So, with that being said, if you'd like to book a session with me, it'll be www.thetrapwitch.com. My rates, information, everything is on there. And soon these will be changing. Things will be changing on my site as I grow and I expand. Things have to grow and expand as well, so I can continue to keep putting back into my practice. So So with that being said, I always tell people, if you've been hovering, go ahead, maximize on the present moment. And two, if you don't feel compelled to work yet, maybe it's just not the time, and that's fine too. So let's go ahead. We're going to get into the reading. We're going to see how this energy is going to be affecting us, and maybe bring up some things. I'll encourage you to get a notebook, take some notes. If you feel compelled to tag me on Instagram with some of the gems, the jewels that really stuck out with you, stuck in your heart, maybe opened your mind, maybe give you some reflection or clarity. I always love that, and I appreciate that. A lady the other day, she really touched my heart. She sent me a book she had been keeping notes in that she was going to pass on to her young son, and I was just like, oh my God, I cried my eyes out. So get into a relaxing space, you know, whether you in the bath, whether you in the bed, whatever. You could be in the bando right now. It doesn't matter. Just take it in, let it process, and allow it to help you move forward. Okay. Spirit, we call you in on behalf of the collective, and we ask for the highest good of all those involved with harm to them. We ask for clarity. We ask for clear perception. We ask the Legua to open the roads to clear, precise messages at this time. What is it subconsciously below the surface, beyond the veil, that can facilitate in their highest good? Allow them to overcome any barriers, obstacles of the spiritual, emotional, mental, or physical kind that might be hindering their alignment with all the good things in life that are due to them. Love, happiness, peace of mind, prosperity, all forms of abundance that are their destiny and their birthright to have in this incarnation and in this lifetime, in order to be of servitude, firstly to themselves, and then secondly others, and on their mission. I call in my spirit guides, my Egun, my ancestors, ascended masters, archangels of benevolence, as well as any other benevolent energy, such as an Orisha, my Egun, like I said, to assist and give us guidance on how to maximize this new moon in Leo energy for July 31st, 2019, and how we can use our utmost potential in order to overcome any shadow aspect, things below the surface, things that need to be dredged up, brought up in order to have evolution and have sanity, peace of mind, peace of heart, in order to stay grounded, stay focused, and to continue to be a force of light in the world. Ashe. Ashe. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. And we are going to pull. Okay. The first card we get is teaching and learning. Archangel Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. And next to that is White Tara sensitivity. You are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. And for clarity in between, we have child design. Earth elements there. Okay. As we move through life, we are forever unlearning and learning, unlearning and learning, unlearning and learning. They say that technically we are our truest authentic selves up until we are about 7 years old, and that's when conditioning really starts hitting us. And guess what? For some people it might be even sooner, because we can't underestimate how much trauma, how much adversity, how much hardship people are born into in the environments they've been exposed to from early. Okay, I know there's somebody watching now that you probably was in a fucked up situation from the get-go, from birth. But just because we are born into a situation does not mean that a new, improved version of yourself will not be born from it. And some of the things that you've been taught, you're gonna have to be unlearned. Some of the ways that we have relationships with ourselves, how we have relationships with others, how we have relationships with things, places, even down to the way that you eat, right? One of the biggest things that I see in the community is like, for example, I'm from the Caribbean, right? I grew up in the Cayman Islands. I did not realize until later on in life that oxtail, my favorite food ever, like growing up, was actually slave food, right? It was the scraps given to the slaves because that's all they ever had. That's what they were exposed to. And so now it's actually a luxury. That shit's expensive as fuck to buy at the market, right? But I say this to say this, right? Because some people, example, especially African-American community, this is something a friend of mine, Chef Aki, is always saying. She's a hardcore vegan advocate. And I'm not vegan, and I'm not here to say veganism is better for someone or is not. All I'm saying is she'll say, for example, just because your family grew up on a certain type of food doesn't mean it's not killing them. Just because your family grew up a certain type of way does not mean it's not killing them. Doesn't mean it's not killing you. Okay? Sometimes we wonder why we are dying. Slowly and surely, because every day we wake up and we're a little closer to, leaving than when we came. But there's ways that we can learn new things that can extend our time here, that can extend our experience, that can also help us make the best of it instead of experiencing more of what we feel is the worst of it. What do I mean by that? My family has a lot of anger on my mama's side and my daddy's side. And one thing is that both of my grandparents on both sides, they left this world early. They left because of disease. But when you break down disease, it's dis-ease. And sometimes there's a lot of things that are bringing dis-ease to our life. It's making us increasingly sensitive, meaning we get triggered and we are reacting. And every time you get triggered and you're being reactive, you don't realize that you are putting more trauma on yourself. Every time you're getting angry, every time you're getting triggered, every time you're getting to that place of you're overly sensitive and you reacting, you're putting a lot of tension on you. You're putting a lot of trauma on you. And what does that do? It creates tension. And tension creates stress, and that leads to strokes. It leads to heart attacks. It leads to an early grave. And if not physical, spiritual. Because some people have learned or they've taught themselves that this world, this existence ain't gonna get no better. Go ahead, harden. Because that's what you got to do to survive. But guess what? That survival mentality is often taught. It's often a conditioning. Have you ever gone through a certain type of neighborhood or a certain type of country or demographic and you see people that look 25 years older than what they actually are? That's life hardening them. And that doesn't have to happen. But we're not taught that we can love ourselves back to health. You got to understand something. Investing in learning new things in order to love yourself, that's being an activist. That's activism. And guess what? A lot of times we have to take and put activism first because a lot of what we need to do is an action for ourselves. Love in this life for yourself and others is an action. And what a lot of people say is that, you know what, these principles, these things ain't available to them. So they just got to do what they got to do. That's a goddamn lie. You know why? My padrino, my elder in Santeria, one thing he told me is that you go to school, school don't come to you. And that's why you have to understand that the first school you ever had was in the four walls of which you were born, and your parents was your first teachers. But then eventually when you got sent out into the world, if you went to school, you know, elementary school, primary school, kindergarten, whatever the fuck you went to, even whatever, even if you didn't go to school, if you was on the streets, there are so many different schools in this life. And in order to get to your healing that you need to get to, you're going to have to go to school. And if the school that you're going to ain't teaching you shit, and it's harsh on you, and it's only hindering your healing, you better find another motherfucking school. A lot of times, people keep themselves in a classroom, in an environment that ain't teaching them shit. Look, I love my mama. She's a beautiful woman. But some of the things she was conditioned to, she just could not teach me. And it was a blessing that I was able to realize that and start to search for the things that I needed to learn from other people. Because the mother, our physical mother, that energy of mother is not limited to a physical being. Divine Mother is an energy. And that energy can be found through many other people and many other things in this existence. But you have to have the desire to say, you know what? Enough is enough, and I need to align with this. You'll be surprised. Oh. You'll be surprised what is available to you once you start searching. Once you start seeking. And in life, sometimes a lot of things are... Okay, there's the phone, right? I'm just going to take it as a sign, though. Sometimes when you are ready to answer a higher calling on your life, to receive a different message, you're going to have to answer to what is calling you. And a lot of us stay in environments when we know that something beyond us is calling us to something else. I remember there were days that I would just lay down on the fucking floor and cry because I said there got to be something else. There's got to be a different feeling. There's got to be different people. There's got to be a different way of life. But if you lay down on that fucking ground, or you lay down in these environments that are keeping you down, in these lower realms, these lower feelings, and you don't get up and you begin to seek or ask God, ask Spirit, whatever the fuck you believe in, to send you a sign, send you a fucking bat signal, send out the call for you to answer, then it ain't just gonna come to you as you're constantly lying there, being defeated, giving up on yourself. The whole point of having to learn and unlearn in life is so we can get to this child design, the sense of innocence, keeping the inner child alive. Because a lot of us done got fucked up from real young, from a time when we was kids. I remember being real angry from young, to be honest with you. And why? I was angry because I had enough of people. I remember being about 5 years old and I was tired. I was tired of my best friend and her sister fucking teasing the fuck out of me, bullying me. I didn't have no boundaries with them. And I remember one day being in the back of my daddy truck in our driveway, and I choked the bitch out of nowhere. And I don't know where I learned that anger and aggression from. But all I knew is that I had been exposed to anger, to lashing out, to certain ways of being. And I felt at some point that's what I needed to do to defend myself. Now at 31 years of age now, I know I didn't need to choke the bitch. I didn't need to choke the bitch. And that's something that I tell people now. I said that to someone earlier today. Sometimes I be wanting to choke a bitch. I would be wanting to punch somebody in the throat. But we can't go through life with those destructive behaviors. When we are in environments that it gets to the point where we're becoming domestically abusive, and we're hurting people and allowing people to hurt us to the point of toxicity, you understand you can't heal in the same place that made you sick, made you diseased, made you get to this point of stress where therefore the sensitivity of your emotions can't take it, and then you are lashing out. So if you know you ain't trying to be angry no more because it's hurting your soul, your spirit, your mind, all of these things, why are you going to put yourself in the company of angry ass people? You learn to transmute the anger. You learn meditation. You learn mindfulness. You learn all sorts of different schools of thoughts and ways and beings in order so that you can learn how to manage your life. And in turn, as you learn these things, you teach these things to others. And sometimes it's not going to be immediate being able to teach them so that they can learn to do it for themselves. But sometimes you just will have to learn, motherfuckers. A lot of people have an idea of who the fuck they think you are, based on your trauma, based on the mask, based on the ego of who you've been up until this point. And they gonna have to unlearn who the fuck that is. Once you learn truly who you are, and maybe not who your traumas and all your triggers and all these things have taught you to be for a very long time. So you're gonna have to learn to put boundaries. You're gonna have to learn to share. I'm not entertaining that. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be giving my emotions, my feelings, my common sense away to things that don't give back to me. Because the first card we have is a Zaka reverse here in this spread below. It is the farmer who has come up on barren land. And although it's come up barren, he's still hopeful. He's picking up all his shit and he's going somewhere else. He's picking up his sick. He's picking up his bag. There's probably seeds up in that bitch. And there's a rainbow beyond. There's a rainbow beyond that barren land. Because like I said, sometimes the schools that we've been in, they've either not served us or not serving us. And guess what? You will have teachers and elders and people who have served their purpose in what they've had to teach you, even if it's all the things you don't like about yourself. Or maybe sometimes, you know, just like you had your favorite school teacher in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, guess what? You can't stay with them forever. You got to move on to 5th, 6th, 7th grade, on to whatever have you. And sometimes it's not personal. There are some beautiful teachers I have had in my life, and I have gotten what I needed to get, and I've moved on. Right? And some people in your life right now, no matter how bad they are, or how fucked up you think they are, they've served your lesson as your teacher. You've been a student of this school so long. So now it's time to take this final exam before you move on. What has this taught you? What do you need to know? Because that's what you have to sit and meditate on right now. The snake that's swinging back and forth in between the tree before it's time to make a move. But the problem is sometimes some of y'all trying to move on, and you get yourself back into the same limbo of situations because you haven't asked yourself, what are you supposed to bring forward to be fruitful from these things in order you don't get stuck on barren land one season after the next? Because some of y'all go into many schools and then you wonder around like, fuck, this shit not like. And that's why, too, you have to understand how you learn. Look, I'm slightly dyslexic as fuck. Like, I can't sit and read a whole book front to back. I'll lose my mind. As soon as I sit down, if I don't put a ruler or something underneath each line, my mind goes from one page to the next. And it's not because I'm slow. I just don't learn that way. When I was finishing high school, before I took my final exams, I had to rewrite all of my notebooks from front to back because I learned through writing. I don't learn well through reading shit front to back. I got to rewrite it all out so I can comprehend it, right? So sometimes even people, if you're someone who might be dyslexic, have autism, these are not completely disabling or crippling things. These are just learning curves. And for you, who's someone who might have a learning curve, you're going to have to find somebody and something that can help you with what you're able to interpret and how you can learn to open and expand. Look, my ass needs a good balance of someone who's got fucking tough love, but I got other teachers too who are more compassionate and more soft with me. But a lot of them in my life, I've needed tougher skin. And so sometimes if you're someone who needs to build tougher skin, you better go get you a teacher who's gonna help you toughen up. If you're someone who's hardened, be around people who can help you open back up, soften yourself, become vulnerable again, that you can expose the part of yourselves where you feel safe to be in a presence of a space where someone can look at you naked, vulnerably, and not cause you harm. Sometimes, right, we have to understand, we have to be concerned about what we need from situations, because you'll continue to search over and over again. If you keep putting yourself in situations where you're expecting to get back what you're putting in. Sometimes you need to be in different scenarios where there's just more available for you for expansion. You know why? That's why it's so important for some parents to put their kids in certain school districts and certain schools where the curriculum matters, the facilities matter, because learning is a way of life. And when you can put yourself in certain environments that help you with your way of life and you enjoy being there and you're learning will become fun. And sometimes learning ain't fun for people because they not learning from the people they need to be learning from anymore. Or they just putting themselves with the wrong teachers, right? But just like in school, there are going to be teachers for everything. Sometimes you got a math teacher. Sometimes you got a history teacher. Sometimes you have a fucking social studies teacher. There's different lanes for different people. And then sometimes the problem is so many of us are looking for everything for one person. And one person is not going to have everything. So you find people that are inspirational to help you with what the fuck you need. If you need financial advice, you go to a financial advisor. You ain't gonna go to a mechanic. But if you need to learn something about your car, then you go to a mechanic. But the problem is, some of us are trying to learn love from motherfuckers who don't know how to love. They don't know how to love themselves. How the fuck you gonna learn how to love yourself and how to love them? They don't know what the fuck love is. They've been bred on survival. So you can't be upset when you're trying to get back from them what the fuck they can't even give to you. And if you're being passive about that, and you're letting too much time pass by, and all this, whose fault is that? It's your fault that you're not in alignment. Because sometimes, right, in order to be aligned with the things that you need, you have to be prepared to say, I'm ready to be in alignment. Because too many people aren't ready to level up, right? Sometimes when you're ready to level up, you'll put yourself in a situation that's a little hard, but you got to be ready. It's like I remember when, you in school and you got to take an advanced course. Sometimes you got to put yourself in the position to advance by putting yourself in curriculum in things that you're not familiar with that are advanced for you. But in order to advance, you will have to learn to be patient with yourself, compassionate with yourself, and love yourself enough to know, look, if I take my time and I open my heart and I open myself, this shit a little unfamiliar, but it might with time grow on me. And as it grows on me, aha, before you know it, I done learned some new shit. You remember when you was fucking 3 years old, you wore Velcro shoes. And when you was little, you learned to put on your shoe and you learned to pull the strap across and tuck it down. You was like, yes, I used to love me some fucking Velcro shoes, Velcro sneakers. But guess what? Within a few years or whatever have you, the next year, you're like, oh, damn, some shoelaces. What the fuck? Ooh. How many of us remember how frustrating it was, learning how to tie your shoe? Until you found somebody who made it easy for you, right? Over, under, swoop, pull, right? Some shit like that. You're going to have to take the steps towards the unfamiliar and understand that being patient with yourself and ready to grow and get out of your comfort zone, you can achieve and learn new things that you ain't never knew before. Okay? Even people who are master teachers started off as students. Everybody who's ever become a master teacher of something starts off as a student, and all through their life, they will continue to be a student if they will allow it. And that's what it takes to ascend. Okay? So with Leo season, big pussy energy season, right? And I associate pussy with divine feminine. And divine feminine allows us to create the life that we want as long as we don't resist it. Because some of y'all are pissed the fuck off because you're resisting divine feminine and you keep getting, adversity, chaos, whatever. Because sometimes divine feminine keeps trying to rip you away from these things that are fucking comfort zones that are stagnating your progress. So right now, because you accepting working with little pussy energy, oh, I can't create that. I don't. That's what you're telling yourself. But is it fictional or factual? Fictional or factual? Might be a little bit fictional. Because a lot of times we're told that the life that we desire, the things that we can learn, the things we can achieve, even as someone who's had limited access to that, we're told that's fictional. Let me tell you something. My padrino only has like a 6th grade education, but he's had many schools in his life that have taught him many things that he's become a practitioner of. And his ass lectures at UCLA, and they introduce him as a colleague because his level of knowledge is worthy of the respect to be called a colleague, because he is there to teach people the things that he has learned, that he can share with them that they have not experienced, and through him they can begin to be open to them. You are somebody probably sitting there and you might want to be a teacher, just a teacher to everyday people in your life or people you come across, or maybe you do want to be a master teacher. And you have to tell yourself that you have the capability to become that person. You could start at a place of that child design. Everybody has to start somewhere. A lot of us have to start at the bottom. We have to start at chapter 1. A book might have 100 chapters, but in order to get to the end, we got to start at the beginning. And some of y'all need to be ready now to start somewhere new. Open your mind. Be excited. Oh my God, I'm going to learn something new. I got a homegirl, okay? She was once on Skid Row. She was a prostitute. She was a stripper. But guess what? She now teaches strippers, prostitutes, whatever. She teaches them meditation. Because you know what helped her get through a lot of adversity in her life? Learning how to fucking breathe. Learning how to meditate. And now she teaches people who are once in the position that she was how to meditate and how to free their minds away from the stress of even if they want to stay in that occupation or if they want to get the fuck out of it. Never underestimate the various schools here on this earth and the people that you meet who are schools and the people you can align you with yourself that are schools. Look at Jay-Z. I was a dope boy on the corner. He has now aligned himself with people like Warren Buffett. He sat down and he sits down with Warren Buffett over a diner table and talks finance. From once being a dope boy on the corner, starting with some small money, to sitting across at a table with the respect of a man who is a master teacher of money and being taught by him, all because he aligned himself and put that position forward for himself. There's nothing in this world that you desire that you can't have if you apply yourself and the universe is an agreement and that can help you conspire to make it happen. A few years ago, there were things that I was starting to write out in a journal that I was just like, we gonna see. We gonna see. But we here. We here. It wasn't fictional. It was factual. And the universe began to put people in my path once I was ready to answer the call in order to learn, to ascend. So let's pull some clarity cards on this. Confusion. Cleansing reversed. And courage. Oh, baby, look at that courage card with the lion on it. Oh, yes, these are hitting. Loose, light to the spirits. Oh, this really feels good. I hope y'all get inspired to go learn some shit. That's like some people, some of y'all might be ready to be a healer in this world of some sorts. You think my bitch ass thought I was going to be sitting here being a healer a few years ago? No. But I done learned some shit along the way and I'm still learning. Here we are. You have to begin to release your own confusion about the places in your life that you feel barren. And you start to ask yourself, where the fuck can I get the seeds from? Because a lot of time you waiting to get the seeds from people. Okay? It's funny, a few years ago, I had an ex, right? It's the last relationship I was in. And it's funny, one day we were sitting on the ground and we were using chalk to draw, just like inner child fun shit. And it's funny because I can remember that I drew a flower and next to it I wrote Master Seed. And I don't know what I was really thinking about at that time. But I truly believe now that I was asking to be the soil that many master seeds could cast upon me in order for me to grow. And I have grown tremendously in those 2 years since that. Because I was on some real fuck shit back then. Because I remember me and that motherfucker broke up. Oh, you want to talk about toxic? Same situation I done been in before when a person disappears on me. I hadn't learned no shit how to act when people start disappearing on me because I had abandonment issues. Especially when my dad died. I was like, motherfucker, I didn't ask you to leave. Did you ask to leave? You just dipped out. And one of the worst feelings I ever felt in my life. One of the worst feelings I ever felt in my life was being 11 years old and being on the side of the boat and them giving me the urn and asking me to drop it in the ocean and let go. And I couldn't do it I handed it to my siblings and I said, you do it because I can't. Whoo, child. I told them to do it and let go because I couldn't. And for years, when every man that came through my life abandoned me, I was that same little girl who could not let go. I could not detach. I couldn't fathom that when someone leaves me that I could detach and just let go. And that's one of the biggest lessons I learned this past year. Only this year. That when someone leaves, sometimes it's not personal. And that's something I had to learn. Because you trying to hold on doesn't change the fact that they have left. And sometimes that's the biggest lesson you're learning. Is that when people leave, let them. Because as long as you're holding on and trying to, you're going to be dragged somewhere else that maybe you weren't supposed to go. And maybe that's divine intervention. Maybe that's God saying, that was your teacher for this season. That was your teacher. How many seasons have we brought you the same teacher with the same lesson in different scenarios and you still don't get it? But this season I feel like I've now passed. And maybe now that lesson has been taken in and I can teach that to other people. And I am teaching it to other people. But we have to, what we have to learn to do is sit down and learn to meditate. Rock back and forth in that place of limbo that we're feeling. Ask ourselves if we want to continue to give ourselves and our emotions and things that we aren't cleansing out, that need to be cleansed out. Because they're throwing us out of alignment. And in order to ascend, sometimes we're going to have to do some courageous shit. Some lion-hearted shit. Some strong shit. To really move the fuck forward. And every time you go ahead and you find a new school, you're finding a new school because you want the strength to have liberty in this life. I'm a trap which about to drop some Ja Rastafari upon your ass now, alright? Hold on. Ja Rastafari. You want liberty. What is liberty? You want the ability to extend life, feel life, higher vibrations, higher frequency, increase your liberty, increase your life force. Some might call it increase your chi, all of these things. But some of us are killing ourselves staying in these old schools that are not increasing our liberty. And you can't be lackadaisy about it. You have to get up from the chair behind that desk and you say, you know what? I'm walking the fuck out of this room because there's nothing here for me. I'm gonna go somewhere else. There's gotta be something else for me. And there is. You have to be a seeker. You have to seek beyond what sometimes you can see. And sometimes you have to be brave enough to go beyond the block. Go beyond what is blocking you. And when I say go beyond the block, some of y'all ain't never left where you ever came from. There's somebody maybe sitting there in Florida today. Ain't never left Florida. Ain't never left the place in Florida where you came from. And ain't shit left for you there in that environment. Well, you have to have the courage to go beyond the block because sometimes blessings are right beyond the block, but you ain't got the courage to leave the block. How many people around you are so uncourageous and scared because they're comfortable with the familiar when there's so much more out there for them? But they'll stay in these schools and they'll stay repeating lessons, being held back in the same grade over and over again and spend that shit for the rest of their life. Sometimes ignorance is a choice. Sometimes remaining illiterate is a choice. Because sometimes it's not that we can't learn how to read situations. We don't want to learn how to read them. And when I say learn how to read, I mean use your intuition. Expand on it. Build on it. Open your mind. Do you know how motherfucking powerful your mind is? You are limited to how limited you think that your mind is. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you have in your body. And your mind has the ability to heal many diseases that you have. But you have to understand that until you decide to change your mind, you will not change your circumstance. Oh, I'm preaching like a bitch today. Hallelujah, holla back. Leo season my jam, y'all. See, I done burnt myself. Got too hot. Got too hot, child. Let's pull open, lastly now. From the Chakra book. I love this book. Actually, let's do 2 pulls from the book, okay? We're going to do Balance Your Shit. The Chakras by Rachel Peen. It's P-E-A-N. And her name's Rachel, R-A-C-H-E-L-L-E. Spirit, please guide us to the chakra work that would be very helpful for this message and this moon, this Leo new moon. Solar plexus. Your relationship to yourself, your personal power, ego identity, and sense of purpose. Symptoms of an underactive solar plexus chakra: lack of energy, low self-esteem and confidence, procrastination, indecisiveness, putting others before yourself. Symptoms of an overactive solar plexus chakra: type A personality, excessive control over other people or your environment, overly detail-oriented, judgmental, jealousy. Balanced solar plexus chakra: assert yourself, celebrate yourself, ability to turn your will into external results relatively easily. Look at that. A balanced solar plexus chakra asserts themselves, celebrates themselves, has the ability to turn your will into external results relatively easily. And look, when you begin to slowly learn how to do that, you will become a master of it. Like we said, at first tying your shoes was not easy, but look how easy you do that shit now. Because you have the will to turn that principle into a practice, and before you know it, you are so purposeful at tying your shoe. Okay? A lot of us don't put ourselves in higher schools because the relationship that we have with ourselves, that we have with our self-worth, what we're worth investing in, was built on a lot of conditioning. How many people were once told that they probably could never go to Harvard, but I'm going to speak this into existence right now today. I'm going to speak at Harvard. Harvard might give me one of them honorary degrees. I'm going to speak it into existence because you know what? I believe it. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? But overactive solar plexus chakra, type A personality, excessive control over other people and their environment, right? Some of y'all are being overactive in that solar plexus because you're trying to control these environments that no longer serve you. You got to move the fuck on from them. You can't control some of these people. Try and teach them shit, learn them some shit. Maybe because you're not supposed to be there no more. And then some of y'all, underactive solar plexus, lack of energy, low self-esteem, confidence, procrastinating, indecisiveness, putting others before you. That's why you're still stuck in them old schools, not learning shit, not doing shit. Okay? The solar plexus chakra is the fire element of life. It's about our fire and passion to be here and leave our own unique fingerprint on the universe, showing that we were here. It is located above the navel towards the center of the torso and is a yellow color. It's your dedication, your willpower, your beliefs about yourself, and your ability to get shit done. I imagine Oprah, Beyonce, and Gary Vee's solar plexus chakras are all bright and shiny. If you overly assert your presence in this world and have a hard time slowing down, or if you feel that you shrink into yourself and would like to be more in touch with your personal power, here are some practices that help. And it's a bunch of yoga poses. It's power pose, boat pose, and bow pose. Let me tell you something. Oprah. Where the fuck did Oprah start? Where the fuck did Beyonce start? Where the fuck did Gary Vee start? These are all people that started in less than ideal situations and had the willpower to move themselves up out that bitch, and they put their fingerprint, put their footprint out into the world and leave a unique one amongst people. And they are master teachers of their crafts. I can't speak of Beyonce's personal life, but I will tell you she's an empowerer of women. Still, nonetheless, Oprah's an empowerer of women. And all people alike, Gary Vee. Listen, get that solar plexus in check. After this, look up some solar plex healing, solar plexus meditation. Find ways that you can learn to practice how you assert yourself, how you see your self-esteem, how you put forward your will, how you do all of these things. Some of y'all want so much more, but you won't invest in yourself. Beyonce's mama and daddy had her fucking invested in. And even if you don't got the parents that can help you, you can make that shit happen yourself. My mama's not great with financial literacy, as many people in my family aren't. But I can learn that shit somewhere else. I'm going to go to a different school. And now here I am teaching my mom about some shit around money. Whew. Let's pull one from the Purpose-Driven Life, and then we are going to log off. Log off. Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. What on earth am I here for? And this is the other book. Balance your shit. Spirit, leave us with a closing word. What I'm able to do, God wants me to do. What I'm able to do, God wants me to do. You are the only person on earth who can use your abilities. No one else can play your role because they don't have the unique shape that God has given you. The Bible says that God equips you with all that you need for doing His will. To discover God's will for your life, you should seriously examine what you are good at doing and what you're not good at. If God hasn't given you the ability to carry a tune, He isn't going to expect you to be an opera singer. God will never ask you to dedicate your life to a task you have no talent for. On the other hand, the abilities you do have are a strong indication of what God wants you to do with your life. There are clues to knowing God's will for you. If you're good at designing or recruiting or drawing or organizing, it is a safe assumption that God plans for your life includes that skill somehow. God doesn't waste abilities. He matches our calling and our capabilities. Your abilities were not given just to make a living. God gave them to you for a ministry. Peter said, God has given each of you some special abilities. Be sure to use them to help each other, passing on to other God's many kinds of blessings. As this writing, nearly 7,000 people are using their abilities in ministry at Saddleback Church, providing every kind of service you could imagine, repairing donated cars to be given to the needy, finding the best deal for church purchases, landscaping, organizing files, designing art, programs and buildings, providing health care, preparing meals, composing songs, teaching music, writing grant proposals, coaching teams, doing research for sermons or translating them, and hundreds of other specialized tasks. New members are told, whatever you are good at, you should be doing for your church. When you understand that church is a body of people, and there are many churches out in the wild. They say there's no church out in the wild, but bitch, there's churches out in the wild. You could stand out in the middle of the street right now. You got something good to say. And you be standing by yourself. And at the end of you saying some good shit to say, you might go viral because one person's going to stop and listen to you. 2 people going to stop. And next thing you know, you got to have 2,000 people listen to you on that corner. I know there's a couple that they do these corner classes. They're one of the first people to set up these corner classes. And guess what? At first they had a small group of people. Now they got many people. And they're touring everywhere. Because guess what? What they're preaching about, what they're teaching about, they are good at. And they know somebody needs it. And somebody who might not know it goes by them. And by the time they leave, they know something that they did not know before. Whatever you were blessed with, whatever abilities you have, whether it is even how to wipe your own ass and somebody don't know how to wipe their ass, you could teach them something. Whatever the fuck you are good at, you need to start writing that shit down. 3 years, 4 years ago now, whatever, I wrote in this book, and you're lucky that I got it right here now. This is the book that I began to manifest my destiny with in 2015. And on top of this book, I bought this journal at Publix, baby. And you know what it says on the front? It says, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Whether you believe God's a man, woman, whatever the fuck you believe. The fact of the matter is, listen to those words. Listen to that message that was in here. I can do everything through God who gives me strength. And if God gives you the ability, there is nothing that you cannot do. And some of you might not feel like you have strength right now, but I guarantee you, if you go to somebody who could teach you about strength training, you will grow stronger. It's like when you go to the gym. You might start off with some 20-pound dumbbells. Before you know, you done moved up to 50, moved up to 70, moved up to 80. Because you become stronger. And it's the same thing with the mind. The mind is a muscle. And the more you train your mind and you strengthen your mind, it can do amazing things that you never thought it could do. But you need to start writing down what you're good at. I know one goddamn thing. I said in here that I knew I was a fucking leader. But I did know that I wasn't going to lead everybody. Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to fuck with me. Some people are going to think I'm weird. Some people going to think I'm whack. I can't tell you how much hate I got online from people. But guess what? Some of them motherfuckers should be taking tips from me. And I say that humbly. Because sometimes we're chastised in schools that we can learn and afford to learn from. But sometimes people won't open their mind to receive you. And until they're ready to receive, who gives a fuck? Go teach somebody else. Okay? That's why when people are choosing universities, they like to go and visit, get familiar with it, and be like, oh, I can see myself here, right? And sometimes people, hold on. Sometimes people limit themselves because they think that they can't afford to go there. I remember feeling like I couldn't afford to go back to my master's program. But I put it out to the universe. I applied. I wrote me a good letter, got some great references. I got accepted. And before I knew it, I got scholarship money I didn't ask for. I got free books I didn't ask for. Because Spirit conspired for that to happen for me. But guess what? After a quarter, Spirit also conspired for me to drop out because that was not my path to follow. And that chaos led me here. And I am grateful because that wasn't the school that I needed to go to. I needed to go to the school of the streets. I needed to go become a sex worker. I needed to marry a man who was into some legal shit too. Strange for the change. Because guess what? Learning the strange for the change helps me now inspire people that can do some strange shit to change their life. And I am so grateful because I did not know that I had the capability to overcome such adversity. But God knew that it was in me. And God knows, Spirit knows, your ancestors know, all your guides know that you have it in you. And there are so many things on the way here that I did not know. But they were in there. Just like a fucking butterfly does not know, right? I said that wrong. Hold on. Rewind. Just like how a caterpillar does not know that it had a whole damn butterfly in it. There's so many things waiting on higher levels for you that you don't know that are in you until you allow yourself to go through the metamorphosis. Go through dark nights of the soul. Google that shit if you don't know what it is. Go through all of these things and get until you get sick and tired of being in certain environments that are not ascending you. Okay? Even in here, I talked about it's your tonality and your body language which allows you to be established as someone worth listening to. Certain tones are pleasing to the ear and imply certainty about what you're saying. Listen, I didn't go to a whole bunch of speech class, ministry class, all sorts of class. But when I decided to sit down on my damn porch and start doing videos like this, I was like, you know what? I got to trust myself. I got a lot of clear cognizance, a knowing without knowing, to trust myself enough to know that what I'm saying is some good shit that somebody out there I know needs to hear. And my homegirl said the other day, she made a post that said, stop saying sometimes, I don't know if anybody needs to hear it. Just say, I fucking know somebody needs to hear this shit today. And underneath of that, I put confidence is not saying, confidence is not they will like me. Confidence is I'll be okay if they don't. Throw me to the wolves and I'll come back. There's so much stuff within you that you have the ability. But you got to put yourself in them advanced courses, baby. You got to put yourself into some unfamiliar territory. It's okay to start over and be a child again and be like, ooh, what did I learn today? Because remember, you started somewhere. When you was born, you had to develop your motor skills and your cognitive skills. Okay, listen. In high school, we had science classes and shit. I opted to take child development as opposed to physics and all that shit because I'm not great at math, so I didn't take physics or chemistry. I didn't want to do all that fucking math. But I took child development. So in my child development and my biology that I took, I learned about cognitive growth. And we learned how when babies are born, they go through these stages of cognitive growth. And at this amount of months, technically, that's when we learn how to walk. At this amount of months, this is when teeth usually come in. You wasn't fucking born knowing your ABCs. You wasn't fucking knowing how to count. You wasn't fucking born knowing how to talk. You learned that shit over time. So as you grow older, why the fuck are you so hard on yourself about certain things? Treat yourself sometimes like a newborn baby. You're going to have to start somewhere. Okay, stop being so hard on yourself. Especially if you're in the company of people who are so hard on themselves that they've already quit before they've begun. That ain't got shit to do with you. They don't think that they could have more liberty, more life, be more expansive, start over, learn some new things. Honey, there are people who are starting off as convicted felons and going on to do some great shit. There are people who started off as fucking in the gutter and they are going on to be gurus. Get degrees. Have growth. It is up to you to decide if you want to go from the pit to the palace. Ain't nobody else making that decision besides you. So if you're going to continue to allow yourself to be stagnated, that's on you. Say no more. It's just like in The Wizard of Oz. The lion, he wanted something. He thought the wizard was going to give it to him. Wizard just pulled it out of him. It's already there. Wizards. Even in The Sword and the Stone, Merlin helped pull some shit out of Arthur. Find you some wizards. Find you some coaches. Find you some teachers. Become a student. Learn some shit so you can teach some shit. You can always go farther than where you're at. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this. I feel good to be, after taking a little hiatus, because I had to come back nice and spicy for you guys for Leo season. It's my season, okay? I'm just going to make my honorary Leo birthday 8/8. The Lionsgate. How about that? How about that? So, for those of you who would like to work with me, come to my school one-on-one, and then hopefully soon, again, some more workshops, retreats, events. Come fuck with your girl. But you can start with one-on-one sessions through my website, www.thetrapwitch.com, and I can pull cards for your own personal situations, weighing your options, helping you navigate, and also teach you how to do this shit yourself, because a lot of my clients, my students, I teach them to not be dependent or codependent on me. Because it is my desire that you not use me as a crutch, but you use me as a confirmation. A double check. A second opinion at times. Sometimes you check back in with your teachers, and sometimes you move on to new ones, and that's fine. I have people who have worked with me once, never worked with me again. I got people that check in with me once a year, once every week, once a month, once bi-weekly, bi-monthly, whatever you need. But if you ain't gonna give yourself what you need and invest in that, what you need will always evade you. So to those of you who keep saying, oh, can't afford it, budget that shit. Okay, invest in yourself. There's a lot of things that I used to say that I could not afford, but guess what? I learned how to manifest prosperity and allow myself to invest back in myself majorly. And it's a beautiful thing. And I would love to teach that to some of y'all. www.thetrapwitch.com to do so. And if you have any reservations, hesitations, you just need a little bit of info about a session. If you're unsure, hit me up. But I'm not going to convince you to fucking work with me. I don't have to do that. I'm not going to oversell myself. If this video isn't enough, then sorry. Don't know what to tell you. Love, light, prosperity, good shit, and happy new moon in Leo, y'all. Peace.